The NFL draft, it's over. It's old news. It's in the rear view. But I want to take a look at those guys that didn't get selected on draft night. I'm going to go through each team's undrafted free agent class and maybe inform you on some of these players that they picked up. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. We're going in alphabetical order, and I'm also looking at spotrack.com to see if there's any guys at NFL.com may or may have not or may have forgotten. So let's go take a look at Arizona's class. Let's start with Ronnie Rivers. He's kind of like the Nyheim Hines in this class. Undersized scat back. Great movement skills. Really good receiving back as well. So he's pretty solid. Chanja Hodge was actually a transfer from Villanova. I believe he got hurt a couple of times. Didn't really get to see a lot of playing time there at Virginia Tech, but he's got good size. Outside of that, I guess I could probably mention Chandler Wooden. I didn't watch him much, but he is Colby Wooden's brother, I believe. So that's a fun fact. That guy's probably going to be draftable in 2023. Daryl Baker, though, that was a guy that made Dane Brugler's top 50 or top 40 at the position. So some dude to watch out for. But overall, the top of the class, I think, is easily going to be Rivers. He might be the only guy that has a shot making the team. I guess we could talk about, was it Kikalua Kenhio out of Boise. But I mean, it's like he was a slot guy. That's about it. Not much to talk about there. Let's go ahead, just go to Atlanta, because they actually had some very interesting signings. A whole lot of them. Actually, I want to start with my boy Stanley Berryhill. I actually met this guy and know him a little bit, but he was essentially the top receiving target for Arizona, and he's got slot only size. He has some return skills, but you don't really know much about his route tree because essentially they would just dump it off to him and be like, all right, go get us yards, buddy. Good luck. So the dude's a good force miss tackler, but honestly, that's about it with him. I didn't expect him to get drafted, but I think he was probably one of the better slot options in this class. Tyler Vrabel, if you don't know, that's Coach Vrabel's son out of Boston College. He's all right, not too bad. I'm actually surprised he didn't get drafted. I thought he would have gone in the back end of day 3. Same with Derek Tangelo from Penn State. I actually mentioned him in I think it was the Shrine Bowl he was in, as one of the standouts. I thought he could be pretty draftable. He was a pretty solid run stuffer there at Penn State. We got Dang here, the linebacker out of California. Also actually got Nate Lammon, who as much as I just didn't like him as a prospect. I was surprised he wasn't drafted because he's got a lot of special team experience. He may not be an ideal athlete, but he's a good tackler. So typically those guys do get drafted, but not this year. Dang, he kind of served as a hybrid 3-4 edge rusher that could sometimes drop him back into coverage. So he's kind of unusual in that manner. Another guy that's just not a high-end athlete. Matt Hankins probably ran one of the slower 40 times. Speed just wasn't his thing. David Bell was smoking this guy in the Iowa-Purdue game. It wasn't pretty. Brad Hawkins, though, I wouldn't be surprised to see him make the team. He's got special team experience. He's versatile. He's played both safety spots last year. He was mainly playing like a deep safety-esque role as they moved Daxton Hill into the slot. And he's a guy that you won't catch out of position. He may not be a high-end athlete, but he's pretty darn solid. So overall, I actually really like this class. I actually took a look at, Taishan James? What did I have to say about him? Because I saw what turned me on to him was, that sounds dirty, was his pro day. So let me open up my draft guide. My Google spreadsheet. Take a quick gander. I know he was at the bottom of the guys that I checked out. Here he is. So I wrote here, guys, first chance to start this season. Despite his size, which he is 6'2", 214, and good length actually too. Wow, 31 and 5/8 inch arms. He did struggle with drops and the contested catch, so a guy that's probably a contested catcher that didn't do good in that area is what I wrote down. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Baltimore Ravens. They only have 2 guys on here. Let me go verify that. And I got a bunch more for Baltimore than what they have listed. I'll mention them. I'll talk about first the guys on screen. Anthony Brown, I don't think he's a quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he makes the roster. I don't know if he won't even make the practice squad. Jaquan Mcmillan, doesn't surprise me. He's the undersized linebacker who had missed tackling problems. Probably better at safety. See how he tested it out, though. I wasn't like a big fan of his, but I didn't outright hate him. Yeah, he ran a 4.67, so at a smaller size, you'd expect a little bit better. He wasn't that explosive either. But some of the guys not mentioned on here, like Jeremiah Moon, I like that as a get. Like that's essentially, it's literally Adam Anderson without, the production and the baggage. But I like that. That's a good pickup. They got Josh Ross from Michigan. Wow, they picked up Slade Bolden, the Alabama slot guy in the NFL. That's interesting. Devin Williams, he's an interesting body type that tested out pretty darn well at the combine. Denzel Williams, if you're not familiar, they list him here as safety. He's probably slot. He mainly played on the outside for Villanova, and I was surprised that he wasn't the first corner, let alone the first Villanova prospect taken. But he was pretty good. He's got good ball skills, but again, undersized. Ricky Pearson, who split carries with Bam Knight there in NC State, didn't surprise me. They got Emeka Emezi. He was the big body contested catch guy at NC State. That's pretty cool. They actually got some guys here. Tyler Johnson, who's kind of like an undersized interior player, Arizona State. Diego, I'm gonna say Fa, and then Gott. We all know who I'm talking about. Linebacker who actually shined at the Shrine Bowl. They're at a Navy. Mekhi Polk, who's got good length, good size at a Mississippi State. Another guy that I was surprised ended up not getting drafted. But let's go ahead. That's a pretty good undrafted free agent class for Baltimore. Holy moly. Let's take a look at Buffalo here. It lists nobody in. Wow, they not signed anyone? Because I don't have anyone on the other side either. Wow, that's wild. You would think you would sign somebody. All right, on to the Carolina Panthers. First guy I want to point off right here is this cat, Kalon Tolson. Tore it up at his pro day. I thought he'd be an interesting pickup. Just based on how he tested out, could be a good project to stash on your practice squad. Aaron Mosby is a former safety, went to linebacker, and then this year he was like exclusively the edge and played very well. Good amount of experience. I liked him at the Shrine Bowl as well. In fact, was it the Shrine Bowl? Shrine Bowl and NFLPA Bowl, I kind of get lost between. Where you at, Mr. Fresno State? There you are. It was the Shrine. Okay. Yeah, he just tested a bit slower than you would like, but he's got decent length. On top of that, they got Charleston Rambo. He's basically bargain bin Devontae Smith in the nicest way. Marquan McCall, very small sample size because he had there was some character stuff. There was also conditioning and weight problems, but he looked great at the Shrine and might be a guy worth trying to like develop. Like he's not half bad. Not bad taking a shot as a UDFA. Isaiah Graham Moby's okay, but Drew Lab, I don't know. He's gonna be a special teamer. He's a pretty darn good returner for Penn State. That's legit. Would be the only way he would have got drafted was for special teams. Overall, this is a pretty solid class too. I think I like Baltimore still a bit better. All right, let's take a look at the Bears. And they only got 2 people listed here. And I don't have anyone actually listed in this other one, but this was actually one of my least favorite prospects, Allie Green. I think that's the 5th, could be the 4th. I don't know. Former Tulsa corner, transferred with him and his buddy Caleb Evans, who actually was drafted. I'm trying to remember where. I can't recall. I want to say it was like the Rams. The Rams? Was it the Rams? I don't think it was the Rams. I don't know. Neither here or there. But I didn't think he had a lot of speed. I thought he got blown up a lot. So yeah, not a great UDFA class here. Let's go ahead and look at Cincinnati. They grabbed a long snapper. That's pretty dope. Shamari Jones is interesting. He had some good tape there at Coastal Carolina. Just not a lot of the Russian concepts there aren't really NFL pro style. I think that's the best way to put it. And actually, I'm gonna go through this because Cleveland's got a lot more guys than they list out here, and there's some legit guys here. So nothing really to talk about from Harper or Logan, but they picked up Isaiah Weston, who is, I thought, pretty darn solid. He's got okay tape, but with his size and how he tested out, he's worth a shot, I would say. DeAndre Bell, probably going to be a box safety out of West Florida. He's pretty nice. Oh, wow. They got Zaire Mitchell-Patton. He came from Notre Dame College. Not Notre Dame, but Notre Dame College. And ended up having a very small role there at Florida Atlantic. But that's interesting. That is indeed interesting. Sean Jolly, they picked up, who's probably a slot corner, special teamer in the NFL at Appalachian State. He's pretty good. Brock Huffman at center. Watch out. He might make that roster. He was pretty good at the Shrine, and he's been very solid for Virginia Tech. He really has. So overall, that's actually a better class than they put down here. Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe I should just show this one. Maybe I should. Maybe when they're not showing any for like Cleveland here, I'll bring over the other screen. All right, so Malik Davis didn't run that well, but he's a pretty good pass game back, whether it's pass blocking or him coming out as a receiver in the backfield. So that's not a bad get up. They grabbed a lot of receivers here. First, Dontario Drummond, who was basically a man among boys in the SEC. He's like 24, but very good after the catch. Ty Fry Fogel was a good contested catch guy. Who struggles with separation, but he tested out way better. Like how he tested out does not appear on film. I'll just say that he is not as fast as he appears. Jaquari Robertson, probably again one of these guys that's probably one of the better slot options in this class, ends up being a UDFA. That's a pretty darn good get. I wouldn't be surprised to see if he makes the roster. Peyton Hendershot is more of a receiving tight end that has a bit of a checkered pass, though it's not nearly as serious as you would think when you look into it. They grabbed Alex Lindstrom. I kind of worry about him and his play strength in the NFL. James Empey probably didn't get picked up because he was a very old prospect. But speaking of very old, Mike Taffa, who's another guy who is a very old prospect. But both those guys, they had Empey has had a great career at BYU, and Taffa had a really good season this past year at Utah. Isaiah Taylor Stewart, man, this was my dude. Man. Like straight up, he never reached his potential at USC, but from his size to how he tested out, like he could be a project worth developing. You got Aaron Hainsford, who again an older guy who's like a 2-down run defender. Marquise Bell, I was surprised not to hear his name called. I really think he's probably a sub package linebacker at the next level. I think that's the best role. And then Jonie Thomas, who I don't even think it was the best safety from Georgia Tech, to be fair. Carpenter actually is probably going to move to linebacker, but Thomas is all right. Let's see if there's anyone else here that they didn't mention. Doesn't look like it. So actually, that's a pretty darn class there, for pretty darn good for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's take a look. They have no one listed for Denver, but I have a few people here, so I'm gonna move this screen over. Here, I'm gonna put it like this for y'all. So first off, they snagged Christopher Allen. Phenomenal. I love Christopher Allen. Wow, they mentioned Jalen Virgil here twice, or Vigil. He's a return man through and through. He actually, I think he was at the Aloha or Hula Bowl. I forgot what that other All-Star game is called. But he's a return man. Never really produced a lot as a receiver, but Christopher Allen's pretty solid. I thought he was gonna have a breakout season this past year, but he got injured on a sack in the season opener against my Miami Hurricanes. Jaquan Mcmillan, another slot corner here. He was pretty good for the Pirates. Let's see. Kadafe Wright, undersized linebacker, who just had a down year, man. Coming into this season, man, he was very solid. I was really surprised to see him have a down season, but pretty darn good. So that's a pretty good class by the Broncos. Detroit, they only got Pimpleton listed here. Let's see if it's actually bigger than that. Oh no, that's not what they're listing. So it is what it is. Let's go to the Green Bay Packers. All right, so BJ Baylor was actually pretty darn solid for Oregon State. So was Tyler Goodson. I feel like Tyler Goodson's more running back, or more athlete than running back, though. Let's see. George Moore was actually one of my least favorite prospects in this class. Oh yeah, Riley Textada out of Baylor. He's probably a slot guy in the NFL if he can make the roster. Ellis Brooks had a very good career there at Penn State, a linebacker. Trey Serlin is actually pretty darn solid in his own right. He was pretty good, a guy that could probably play in the box or play in the slot at Oklahoma State. He was a part of that. They had a very fearsome defense this past season. Like, you were not throwing on Oklahoma State. All right, Texans don't list anybody. I only got one guy from here, and I have no idea who that is. So, yeah, it doesn't even list the school he's from. So, don't know. On to the Colts. So, Jack Cohn, that's kind of whatever to me. I liked Ryan Van Denmark. I thought he looked good at the Shrine Bowl, but he put up four pedestrian seasons at Connecticut. So I could see why he didn't get drafted. Dallas Flowers, I wasn't too wowed by him. I know a lot of people liked him, and I think a lot of people just want to root for these guys from smaller schools, and I don't blame them. I'm that way myself, but yeah, it's kind of whatever to me. But yeah, no, I guess it's a class. Jaguars kind of did good. Marcus Tatum, he was the bottom of my tackles rankings. He moves decently, man. He just doesn't look like an NFL player. Oh, Grant Morgan too, out of Arkansas. Interesting. But my boy Kevin Austin. I mean, we can mention EJ Perry, but let's talk about Kevin Austin, because this cat, he finished the year pretty darn hot there at Notre Dame, and he tested out very well for a he's like 6'2", 200, 6'3", 200 pound wide receiver. He was the among like 5 receivers to actually have a sub 7-second 3-cone. So I think worth invested in. Wasn't a big Nick Ford guy this season. Let's see. Oh, Josh Thompson. I thought he would have been the only Texas prospect drafted, and then they just said, "Hey, no, we're not drafted from Texas this year." So yeah, no Texas players drafted. Kind of sad. On to the Kansas City Chiefs. Justin Ross. Apparently he had a medical red flag from every team, and the Chiefs decided to take a gamble on him as a UDFA. So there's some serious medical concerns with him, but he could be a very good contested catch guy. That's something they don't really have. They actually have his former teammate on the squad. My gosh, I can't remember his name now. Let's do Clemson Receivers 2020. See if I can find this name, and I know it'll click the minute I see it. Oh my goodness, is this what we're doing? Is there not a better way to look at this? Let's see. Wasn't Joseph Nagata? He's still in school. I wonder if Jake Venables moved to Oklahoma. Oh, Cornell Powell. There we go. Cornell Powell. That was the guy that was picked up by the Kansas City Chiefs last year. So honestly, I think they may have probably got a better guy in Ross. And then the Raiders, they picked up Chase Garbers. He's basically Brock Purdy of the Pac-12. Our boy Bam here, he's like 26, going on 27. Like a lot of people, he turned a lot of heads at the Shrine because it was like, dude, that's great length, great size. He moves well. Oh, he's 26. Okay. Darian Butler was actually one of my more favorite prospects in this class, a linebacker when I was covering the Pac-12 for Blue Chip. That's all I gotta say. But Butler, he's a bit smaller, but he plays very physical. He makes splash plays in coverage. Like, dude's solid. That's actually, if you're gonna sign 5 guys, that's not a bad 5-name list. All right, let's go to the Chargers. Letty Brown, pretty darn good back there out of West Virginia. He's basically TJ Yeldon. Does a lot of things well, but nothing great. Brandon Sebastian, I'll say he is tested. I'll say that. He got thrown out a lot. I think that's the nicest way I could put it. Overall, man, kind of an underwhelming UDFA class, to be fair. I didn't really look at a lot of these guys like the Old Dominion or William and Mary guys. I didn't really check those guys out. Believe it or not, it's kind of hard to find film on them. Who would have thought? The Rams, they got Cameron Dicker, the kicker. Dicker, the kicker. Make your own jokes. A lot of people really liked him. So, yay. Dolphins, legit. I'm excited about this. So, Kellen Deesh was a cat that I had a 3rd-round grade on. He fell. I thought he'd be a perfect fit for a wide zone blocking scheme. Which, hey, Dolphins, now that Mike Daniels is in town. Yeah, no, we kind of going to be doing that. Squandre White, doesn't surprise me. He went as a UDFA because just such a small sample size, and I thought his testing was kind of, it didn't look the same as it did on tape. Like, he looks much better on tape than how he tested out. And there are some injury concerns in his pass back, dating back to when he was with Florida State. And then the Minnesota Vikings got my boy Trey Turner. If you didn't know, Trey Turner was the guy that I thought was going to be the Josh Palmer to the Senior Bowl. Didn't turn out that way. Is what it is. But yeah, outside of that, I guess Mike Brown's someone to like mention because he actually had a pretty darn good pro day. And I had him as a UDFA, but dude's a hard-hitting slot guy. That's about it, but still pretty good. Oh, yeah, then there's the Wake Forest edge. Yeah, I had him inside my top 300, so okay, there's some stuff there. There's some stuff. New England Patriots, they grabbed my boy De'Aaron King. He's not going to be a quarterback in the NFL. I think that's what really hurt him during this draft process is he refused to work out at any other positions. I just don't get it. But overall, this is kind of underwhelming. The New Orleans Saints, they got Abram Smith out of Baylor. I was surprised his teammate got drafted and he didn't, because he was a guy that got raved about at the Senior Bowl, man. A lot of people liked him, and he looked pretty darn good, too, doing it. There's Dixon, the big body receiver at Nicholls State. So that's him. Kroll has, I'll say this, no ball skills, very plodding, but he tested out really well. Riddle me that. He's one of those guys where the testing doesn't match the tape. DeBlanco here from Cincy. He put up a good year. Neffy Sewell. Ooh, I wonder if Neffy stays at linebacker. I really think he could maybe be a box safety. Maybe. Demarcus Fields, another cat that was pretty tested there at Texas Tech. Pretty solid. Vincent Gray has just... I think what killed him was some of his tape. He's just getting sauced and toasted. Smoke Monday, one of the best names in the draft, I'll say that. I've heard people talk about moving him to linebacker, and I don't know about that. He'd be very undersized at linebacker, maybe even as like a dime backer. I don't know about that, but yeah, that's strange. He didn't get picked up. I thought, did he test out well? 4.52, 10 on the bench. But yeah, he tested out all right for the most part. That's interesting. On to the New York Giants. They grabbed a fullback there in Jermaine Hall. I just liked Connor Hayward better. I thought Jermaine Hall, he went to the Senior Bowl, and I was just like, okay, he's a guy. I wouldn't take him. And he goes as a UDFA. So that's actually the only couple of guys they have listed here. The Jets, they took my boy Bam Knight, man. Bam Knight. He could use a bit more polish in how he runs, his vision. But, like, watch out for that cat, man. Watch out. Like, he could sneakily make the roster. It won't surprise me. The Eagles pick up another nose tackle in Noah Ellis, but he's more of a run defending nose tackle. Carson Strong is obviously the bigger name of the two. A lot of people had him as at least a third-round grade. And, yeah, no, he falls, man. They're really scared about the knee. And obviously he's not that mobile, but I thought that was a very good move by the Eagles to bring him in on the roster. And then, Steelers, they made some plays. Okay, I see you, Steelers. So Matteo Durant out of Duke had a heck of a year. I know this was the franchise guys, one of his sleepers, Jordan Tucker. He really liked him. Donovan Jeter ain't nothing much. Neither is Chris Owens. Jalen Warren had a really good year for Oklahoma State, but doesn't surprise me. He went UDFA. I was surprised that Chris Steele out of USC didn't get drafted. Like, I had a late day 3 grade on him, but still. Tyree Johnson, if you go back and watch Texas A&M tape, he's always the first guy off the line of scrimmage. He's so explosive. Oh man, I'm getting gassy here, man. What's up? All right, we're on to talking about the 49ers. What moves did they make? Wow, they made a lot of moves. Actually, I like some of these moves better than their actual draft class. I know. Taylor Hawkins was the guy I checked out early in the process and was like, gosh, he looks so slow, and just never went back to. I just remember it because I was like, it looks like he's graded out nice. Let me go watch him. Oh my gosh. He's got cement blocks for feet. Tate Martin, a lot of people liked after the, I want to say it was the NFLPA Bowl, but I'm not positive. But another older receiver. You got a nice box player here. Yeah, they put linebacker. He was a box safety at Indiana, but this dude loves to hit. I think this year he just added the McCrary to his name. But he used to be just Marcelino Ball. So, Actually, yeah, no, Leon O'Neal. I thought he would have got drafted. He feels like a linebacker, the way he hunts down ball carriers. The problem is his missed tackle rate is atrocious. Jason Poe, I say this all the time when talking about him. I watched one game because I wasn't finding Mercer film, but I could find Alabama versus Mercer, and he actually played them pretty darn well. He tested out real well. I was surprised he didn't get drafted. More surprised by Donovan West. That's the biggest name here that I thought didn't get drafted. I had a very early 4th round grade on him, and he is perfect for this scheme. He could play guard. He could play center. Very good for this scheme. This is actually a pretty darn good class in its own right. Seattle Seahawks don't have anyone listed here. Let's see if they got anyone on this. Nope, so we're skipping the Seahawks. All right, let's talk about Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because there's actually all 3 of these names are interesting. Just checking to see if there's more names. Doesn't look like it. Devin Tompkins, very undersized. Hell of a year for the Aggies there at Utah State. Undersized, but he's probably a return man. Jareth Stearns, very undersized. Probably a slot, if not a returner. This guy did a lot. Like, he was either wide open downfield or just taking a screenplay to the house. And then Oluokun Fadukasi is like your 2-down run stuffer. Like, he could, like, I feel like he'd be a liability in coverage. Surprised he didn't get drafted. Typically, I thought the NFL really likes these 2-down run stuffing types. Then on to the Tennessee Titans. Reggie Robertson. I was actually talking about this on Titan Upload a couple of days ago. Could have been a day 2 pick if not for injury last season. Real shame that that happened and just never got like built back on that hype. But hey, I had a higher grade on Robertson than I did Danny Gray. Jaden Peavy, he was pretty solid for A&M. And then David Anai, I'm really bad with names. Y'all should already know. Y'all already know me and pronunciation. We don't go together, but he's got linebacker size. He mainly played he almost exclusively played edge at Houston and was very successful in that regard. However, I mean, at 6'2", 245, I mean, I guess he's got the length. Maybe not. Maybe he can stick at edge. Man, maybe I was underrated him. I mean, I had a 6th-round grade on him, so to be fair, it probably means I overrated him, but looking at him now, man, and his tested numbers weren't too far off from James Houston, who I loved, and I know the production was pretty close. Interesting. It's so weird going back and looking at some of these write-ups I had and be like, I see this a different way. That's always fun, right? All right, and let's take a look at the Washington football team before this video gets too long. All right, I got them on the screen. I want to make sure I'm not missing any of their UDFAs. Curtis Hodge, he's a very tall tight end. That's about it. Tyrese Robinson, it's all right. He's okay. He did all right at the, I think it was the Shrine. Cole Kelly, though, hey, holla. This dude's going to be a good practice squad guy. He's got a big arm, and he's like, 6'7", 250 or something like that. So that's pretty nuts. That's pretty rad. Devin Taylor, straight up, if you don't know the name, let me fill you in, because he's had quite the career arc. So first off, he was from Illinois State, then he transferred to Virginia, because he was shut down at corner for Illinois State. Then he goes to Virginia Tech, where they try to make him into a safety. Like, pause. Like, come on. So that he basically feels like that they fumbled his season, so he transfers to Bowling Green, and I think it was against Tennessee in the opener. I believe it was that game where he was just a monster. He had like 5 pass breakups and an interception. And here, I just want to make sure it was Tennessee. It was Tennessee. They got blown out because they're Bowling Green. But Devin Taylor had himself a day. And then on top of that, like what really turned me on, oh my, to Devin Taylor was before he transferred to Virginia Tech, he actually trained with Antonio Brown. And like they were doing like receiver corner one-on-ones, and like he was pretty solid. Like he was kind of good. I just figured he wouldn't get drafted because of his age, which, hey man, you always got to kind of factor that in. He is 24, going on probably 25. But like low key, man, this like that's a pretty good signing. And I could see why he didn't probably get picked up. And he's 6'1", 203, 32-inch arms. You gotta love it. But 4'6", 40. That's not ideal, but he tested out pretty well in everything else. But yeah, watch out for this guy. He might make the squad. I wouldn't be surprised. Want to see? Oh yeah, and then you got Jacob P here, who's basically just been a vet on that Michigan State team. I think he had like a 7-sack game or something this past year, but he is limited in terms of what he can do as an athlete. So I thought he might get picked up as a UDFA just because of his experience, but not a bad name to have. I can see him having a long NFL career. But that's it for the video. Let me know who are some of your favorite names that got signed by some of your favorite squads. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.